I'm always traveling. How do I make money? How do I afford to travel? How can I be living abroad if I don't have a regular job? What is it that I am doing that has allowed me to travel to 10 countries since February of last year? Literally 10 countries in the last like 14 months. These are all questions that I get literally all the time, which is why I am so excited about today's topic because I'm going to have someone on here who knows exactly the answer to all of those questions. And her name is Nikki, and we're going to be talking about how to actually turn your skills into online money because this is something that I've been doing for a while. Nikki has been doing this for a while, and she specializes in helping people do this. So I'm going to bring her in. I see that she has joined. So maybe I just hit the invite button. And then we're going to talk about how to I can't say this word, digitalize your skills and turn it into money that you can make from anywhere in the world, because the days of being beholden to a job in a physical location, we are moving that to the past. Okay. All right. Let me see. Do I just hit invite? Nikki, I think you need to actually like request to join. And then, oh, it worked. Not me being so shocked that it worked. Hi,
We've never done
Nikki.
it like this. Hi. There's an airplane going over. Just give it a second.
Oh, I can't even hear it. You're all good.
Okay. Okay. Let me,
But wait, you are paused. Okay, no, now you're back.
we're good. Perfect.
Okay, yes, we are good. Hello, and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for today's live.
I am too. It feels very weird to be formal with you because we are not formal friends in any way, shape, or form. But
we dialed in the corporate real quick.
we did. We really did. We're gonna keep it corporate classy. No.
Corporate classy, master classy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay, wait, Nikki, wait, let me confirm. Do you have 30? What did you tell me you only had 30 minutes? Is that right?
I have until like 5 minutes before noon my time. So I have more like, what is that, 40 minutes, I think.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I don't want to run over. And you already know that you could be like Bianca, rein it in. So
Yeah.
just okay, so tell me. Well, then let's get into it because I know our time is limited. Thank you so much for the hearts, by the way. I appreciate the love. Nikki, for starters, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you. Who is Nikki?
Who is Nikki? So my name is Nikki. I am an intuitive business and identity coach. So what I do is, and slash creative strategist. So what I really do is I show women how to take their skills, their expertise, like what they've been through in life, and digitalize it to be able to monetize it online. But aside from that, there's always like a spiritual growth aspect, as you know, that comes with entrepreneurship. So we dive into the identity, learning how to embody the identity of that person, and then, as you also know, anytime you need a creative strategy, I got it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I cannot count how many times Nikki has helped me with my business. I mean, and sometimes, when you feel like you have it like right there on the tip of your tongue, or you feel like you have this idea and your brain just cannot fully form it, your mouth cannot put it together. Nikki is she's really phenomenal at that. And I really love that she adds the spiritual element to it as well, because like you said, entrepreneurship is spiritual. And I think a lot of people are not really acknowledging that. And a lot of us tend to only lead into the physical aspect. And we know where that normally leads when we're just doing all this stuff that we think we should be doing, when we're just doing what's trendy, when we're just kind of like spinning our wheels. So I really love that you bring in that other element as well.
Thank you. And you already know the whole journey. We both we both thought it was going to be physical, and then we had to like break down the layers and rebuild them back up and all this. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you've been on this journey with me, not to get all sappy.
Oh my God. I know we're air signs. We don't get sappy, Nikki. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Get no water in that big three.
Oh my God. We're going to stop being toxic on here. Okay. But what we're really going to focus on today, y'all, is talking about how to turn your skills into online money. So like I was saying earlier, people ask me all the time, how do you afford to travel so much? How are you making money if you are always abroad? And Nikki, I think you can agree with this. When you've been doing something for so long, it's like you're shocked that other people are shocked about people making money online. Like I'm to me, it's almost weird to me for people who don't make any kind of money online. I'm like, what do you mean? There's so many options out there.
Exactly. There's like there's a favorite story I love to tell, and it's always about, I think it was a woman. I said man once, but I'm pretty sure it was a woman. But when it was a couple years ago, and I discovered she was making $250,000 a year selling a course on how to get started with sourdough. So yes, so something like that, like there, what I try to explain to people and women, and this is why I'm excited to be on, like with you, with everybody who travels and wants to make money from anywhere, is there is no shortage of skills, experiences, things you've been through, things you know that you can't turn around and digitalize and package into something and just sell on repeat. So
Yeah.
like this lady, for instance, she made that course once, and then people, like word of mouth, people just were like, oh, this is cool, I've been wanting to learn sourdough and sourdough starters, and millennials, for whatever reason, that was like our midlife crisis. So it was like the sourdough bread, and so it started selling, and she was good at it, and she knew how to package it. There's another one, again, to give the idea of like how the possibilities are endless. It's an account I follow. They're called Two Sisters Homestead. They're over on Instagram, and they teach homesteading to people who want to learn how to grow their own food. The interesting uniqueness about them is one sister lives in the country and one sister lives in the city. So they show how to do it no matter where you are. So they went ahead, built up an audience, launched a product, and they had like a $50,000 launch or something like that. Like, and it's continuously grown because people are just, they're interested in stuff like that. So they're
No,
like,
that's dope. No, I mean,
no
honestly, it's and this is something that you used to talk about a lot back in the day. I just looked at the clock and it was like 2:22. Sorry. This is stuff that we used to talk about back in the day, but I know that storytelling is a huge part of business. And honestly, I feel like it doesn't really matter what you do. Like, we as humans, we just love a backstory. And sometimes I see these videos on TikTok where people are like, oh, they say create the content, but my life is boring, or well, nobody cares about this. Right. And I know that I've even had moments where I had to remind myself that, Bianca, just because your story isn't like this person's, it doesn't mean that it's not valuable. So I did want to, I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more at the end, but I want to go ahead and drop it real quick because I know you have a masterclass coming up. Go ahead and tell us about your masterclass before I get into the rest of the questions.
Yeah, so on June 9th, my birthday gift to everybody, I am going to be hosting a free masterclass. This one is called Digitalize Your Expertise. So we're going to get into turning your skills, gifts, and or experiences into a sellable offer. And so this can really be perfect for anybody, like coaches who are like, I only have a service to offer, I need to digitalize so I can free up some time, consultants, realtors, same deal, bakers and photographers, people who have like businesses that require your presence, right? And so like require you to be there. I'm gonna show you how to digitalize it so that you don't always have to be on in order to make money. And then corporate workers who are like, I need either side income or just like, I want to get out of corporate, that we will also get into that too. But yeah, so June 9th, you'll have to DM me class. I don't have enough followers for a link in bio. You'll have to DM me class or comment class and I can get the link over to you. But the whole thing will be about how to digitalize all of that, how to turn it into an offer, how to do some research so that you know if your offer is viable or not, if it's going to sell. And then we'll get into some identity piece to really like get out of that employee mindset and learn how to embody like the creator mindset, because that's always huge.
Getting out of that employee mindset. Oh man, we're very familiar. We are very, very, I mean, and it kind of goes back to the whole like spirituality thing. Like, it's one of those things where you don't even know until you know. Like, you truly do not know how ingrained it is in us to be employees. And like in school, like we're taught how to be good employees, that our mindsets are so centered around, I work for somebody else. A paycheck only comes bi-weekly or every week or every month. And there really is so much to learn. But let's start off with telling us a little bit about how you even got into online money, because nobody was born into this. Well, no, I don't know how old the youngest Gen Z is, but like for the most part, like most of us are not born into this. So how did this all begin for you? Thank y'all for the hearts, by the way. We appreciate the love. We appreciate y'all double tapping.
Yes, thank you. So how it started for me, it's actually an interesting story. So I had ankle surgery. Like, what year was that? 2018. So it's 2025. So in 2018, I had ankle surgery and I couldn't walk and I couldn't go to work. and I was in the bed bored. I was like, I need something to do. And so what I did is I like to write. And so I started writing poetry. And from the poetry, I created a whole different Instagram account. I started sharing these poems. I started sharing like these like sad poems, happy poems, all kinds of poems. And I started looking into like ways to make money outside of work because I really forgot how much I enjoyed creating. And so from there, I learned about drop shipping. And so I started this first brand that was like, it was called Consistently Hustle. And it was like a spinoff of like Nikki Expressions. And it was like poetry and drop shipping products and things like that.
Wait, pause. Can you tell the people what drop shipping is? Because not everyone knows what drop shipping is.
So drop shipping is when you sell products that you don't have to hold the inventory to. And so this is what I specialized in was handbags and like framed photos at the time. And so I had these things that I put together to sell via drop shipping. And I thought I was going to be a millionaire in 24 hours. It didn't pan out. I went back to work. Okay, so that was the first time I got a taste of like this online stuff. So the following year I had my son, 2019. I was on maternity leave. This is when I got into digitalizing the expertise and not just digitalizing creativity. And so I have a corporate sales background. I wrote my first ebook when my son was like 2 weeks old, my oldest, and it was how to like do a whole sales cycle, right? Like how to go and prospect and get the clients and stuff, but for online business owners. So that sold. I didn't know what a niche was, not a clue. So I talked to somebody and they were like, well, let's target a person. So I targeted fitness coaches. I had history, teaching fitness coaches how to or selling fitness packages. So I targeted fitness coaches and I taught them exactly how to, get clients for their business. I redid the ebook. That ebook sold. It sold on Amazon and it sold just in like a link in bio that I had. And so from there, the people who purchased that, I turned it into a live training, a 6-week live course. And it was supposed to be each step of the sales process. And so I turned it, that was my first ever live course. This is still like 2019, early 2020. I turned it into a live course, had some fitness coaches in there, taught them how to like start and grow their business, get the clients and things like that from the ebook. And then after that, COVID happened. And so when COVID happened, then I started really like trying to figure out these different digital products. I got into coaching. I backed off of coaching for a little bit and then I came back to more ebooks. And so what I learned in that process, I got into coaching. I got into email marketing coaching and then I created an email marketing course. So that sold. That was about like raising your open. You remember that? That's when you were.
I remember.
So I made that course, how to do email marketing, how to raise your open rates, how to get replies, how to do sales and emails and stuff like that. So I did that course from a skill that I had learned from being online. And then I pivoted into more of like the spiritual aspect. When I had 2 kids, that was a hard transition for me as a mom. And I had to learn a lot of mindfulness techniques. So then I created an ebook about like mindfulness for moms and like teaching the processes that I had learned. And then what else have I created since then? Help me.
Oh my God. There's not enough fingers.
Yes. So I did that. I took my journaling. I made some journals, for some journals with prompts, without prompts, things like that. And so overall, over the last 5 years has been about just learning or going through something and then learning how to digitalize it to help somebody else through it. Right. Or to give them the tools to get through it and stuff like that. But the key piece to remember here is all of this started with the corporate skill. I didn't know anything about online business. I just knew what a sales process was. I knew that was my skill. And so I just brought that on over. And then through the process of selling that and, learning about online business and also having like my own, personal experiences happening is how I was able to then create more digital products to be able to sell online. And from anywhere, once you have the internet and a link in bio, like you can travel, you can go anywhere and sell it anywhere. My first passive income, I was at a wedding. I was lit. I was at a friend's wedding and I was like looking at my then fiance, now husband. I was like, look, we made some money like on the dance floor, right? I was so excited.
That is the best. That is the absolute best. Yeah. Like I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? There's the joy of the first time you make money online in general. And it's amazing. It is. And then there is the joy of passive money.
Yes.
There is the
Yes.
joy of waking up and seeing money. There's the joy of being at a wedding and seeing a
And
payment
seeing money.
notification, being
Yes.
in the bathroom, being, see, Tracy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like it is such a beautiful thing. And I love that, if you really like pull out all these things that you were talking about, these are all things that are happening to you in your life, right? Like
Right.
you're teaching these things that have happened to you, and you're sharing your story because so many of us go through similar things. That Stripe payment sound. we go we all are going through so many similar things, and we never know whenever we can help people. And like Nikki and I have a similar background in terms of corporate. I've always been marketing. She's always been sales. We have played around with this whole idea of in another life we would start our own sales and marketing
Yeah, our own
agency.
consulting firm.
But we don't want to work that hard.
Not this one, though.
That's the problem with us. But similar background, I also started in corporate, and it was a similar thing for me. Like I was a social media manager for what felt like forever, and then as I would be doing these regular things like going to get my hair done and going to the dentist, going to get an oil change, and people would be like, oh, like, what do you do? And I would be like, social media. Like you could literally see like the panic on their face. Like people were like, oh my God, I'm so bad at that. Oh my God. And for me, I was like, why y'all tripping? It's just social media. But then
Right.
I caught on. I was like, wait a minute, here I am. And at the time I was at this like I was at this big tech company. So I was like, Bianca, you're out here, with this full marketing team, you got this like salary job, but these small business owners, they need help. And, this is a skill that you have. So I really just wanted to highlight the importance of like, Nikki is not saying you got to go out there and try to like learn some new thing to start teaching somebody tomorrow. Like
No,
you
not at
already
all.
have skills, talents, hobbies, interests, things that you can monetize if you want to stop having location dependent income, and if you want to be able to make money from anywhere. And trust me, you can reach way more people. There's way more people in these internet streets than there are in your hometown, sis. Like I promise
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. This is like globalizing the whole thing. And
Yeah.
inside the masterclass you mentioned earlier, that's one thing that we zone in on is like, what skills do you have? And what I've come to find is a lot of women are like, I don't really have skills. But if you feel you don't have skills, you have experiences.
Mm-hmm.
There's a woman that I coached, and she actually, same story. She was like, I don't think I have skills, but she had overcome what's considered an anxious attachment style. And so she turned that into a whole workshop. And from that workshop, like she's been able to sell the workshop. She's been getting clients like from that workshop, they go through the workshop and then they're asking her for one-on-ones and stuff. And so that's like a key thing I remember, like mine and yours started with skills, but sometimes like the experience is what,
Yeah.
what really can sell too.
Yeah.
And what you can monetize. And even like people will be like, I don't have skills. I promise you have skills. I
Yeah.
promise. What happens is we forget all the skills that we have. Like reading is a skill, for example. You know what I mean? But we don't remember learning how to read. But it's a skill.
And people make money from that. Like I have
Yeah.
there's a friend of mine who really loves Stephen King, and I was telling her, I was like, girl, I have literally seen my husband like in TikTok lives listening to people read them scary stories. Now, do I think these
Yes.
people are weird? Yeah. But you know what? They're not my target audience. So that's
Exactly.
fine. There is an
Exactly.
audience. There's an audience for everything, which I'm sure you will go into a lot more detail in whenever you get to like in your masterclass.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get into like the marketing and stuff like that, or the market research, I should say, and finding the audience and like seeing how to determine if people are even searching or like buying for that.
Yeah.
One of the mistakes that I would always make is I would think of things in my jargon, right? And then you go to search it and you're like, it's not really converting. Well, because nobody search it like that. So that's
Yeah.
something that we'll absolutely like touch on and stuff. One thing I want to add to, if you are bilingual, you should be rich.
Say more.
Because English is the number one sought language and Spanish is the second. If you are English, Spanish bilingual, like you should be rich. Like people want to learn these languages, and a lot of people, I'll use my mom as an example, like she was raised up bilingual, right? And I'm like, Mom, teach it. So many people, like, you could be living lavishly if you
Yeah.
would just step out of your comfort zone and teach it. But that's
Yeah.
one that always triggers me. I'm like, bilingual people absolutely should be rich.
Man, listen, and God knows I need help. Like I hear someone speaking Spanish, help me. Like,
Yes.
will you please practice with me? Oh, Tasha said great information. I'm glad to hear it, Tasha. Nikki, I wanted to ask because on your page, and I've told you this, how like some of your content has been a little bit, it's been like triggering me a little bit, which is great. Okay, which is great, right? Like when you see something, you're like, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Do I agree? Well, let me think about it, right? Like this is a good thing, right? To have this triggering content. And I know some of the things that you've been sharing are essentially about how can I put this? We'll say the state of the 9 to 5. So let's talk about why this skill is even important. And I know that a lot of you well, if you're following me, you're probably following me for travel, but I do obviously like talk about making money online as well. And if you've been in any of my lives before, you have heard me preach that I don't care what you were doing, I don't care where you are. More than one stream of income, in my opinion, is no longer negotiable. Like it is no longer negotiable. So let's pull it back a little bit and talk about why this skill even matters and what's coming and what does this world look like for those who are dependent on a physical job.
Well, okay, so as you know, I did make a semi-controversial post about a LinkedIn article that I saw or an article I saw about the LinkedIn CEO. And so the LinkedIn CEO, Reid Hoffman, he made a prediction that the 9 to 5s will likely be extinct or vastly different by 2034, which is in 9 years, which people are like, oh, it's 9 years. But like, think about COVID's already been 5. You know what I mean? So we're, yes.
Sorry, that shocked me. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Like,
she said, hold on.
The way I wasn't even ready for that information. Yeah, hey, 90s babies. 2000 was 25 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like 9 years it's going to be here basically tomorrow, right? When you think about it in a hindsight matter. And so I posted this article and I had cited it because this is the same man who predicted the rise of social media back in 1997. This is the same man who invested and became I think a multimillionaire by investing in Airbnbs early because he saw them really rising up. So it's somebody I would listen to. Yeah. So anyways, his prediction is that the 9 to 5 will likely be like basically extinct by 2034, which is in 9 years. And so when we think about that, when we think about what the 9 to 5 looks like now, when we think about AI is not going anywhere. AI is likely going to be able to do some of our jobs, regardless of your industry. On Royal Caribbean, they have what's called like a robot bar, and the AI robots make your drinks. There's no bartender, right? It's like all robotic. And where I live, about an hour north, so in Los Gatos, there's a restaurant, and like they have AI robots that do all of the cooking. And so when we think about skills and experiences and expertise and what we know as the traditional 9 to 5 is that things are changing rapidly. And so I use those examples because people always think like, well, my job is secure, and taking AI out of it, corporations can do what they want, when they want, how they want, with whatever employees that they want. It doesn't matter how good you are. I watched a VP at the last company I worked at get laid off just because they were doing budget cuts, and she, high up. But anyways, but with AI advancements and things like that, we have to be able to think outside of just a simple 9 to 5 structure of, clocking in or showing up at your salary or whatever, and doing the work and getting paid for it, and looking at that as, sustainable and like a long-term thing. Because not when corporations do what they want, but then two, with the AI advancements, AI is going to be able to do a lot of these jobs. And, a lot of people like to buck back at that thought and be like, well, that, I don't like it. And it's like, whether we like it or not, it's here to stay. It's the same thing in 2007. They launched the iPhone, right? People were like, we don't need that much technology in our pocket, but it was here to stay. Like, we got it. I'm on mine right now. Yeah. And so it's important for people to really think outside of, if I lost my 9 to 5 income right now, how would I pay my bills? How would I get my groceries? How would I pay my rent? Right. And so this is why, even if you are in corporate and you're not ready to leave corporate yet, that's fine. But it's important to really start thinking about like what skills and experience do I have from corporate that are transferable to the outside world, to other people. Sales and marketing is not going anywhere. You know what, like your background, my background, regardless of where you are, like these are skills that people need. And so that's what I want people to start thinking of is like, what are skills that I have that other people need? And if I don't have them, what skills can I learn that I can reteach, right? Yeah. That other people also need. But I think that answers your question. But yeah, the 9 to 5, like that was a controversial post that I made. People were like, yes, I can't go anywhere. And I was like, y'all scared.
Listen, I was one of the people who was like, no. The 9 to 5 not going nowhere. I'll be honest, but when you have like the context of how you explain it, it makes so much sense. And I think the other side of this, that we could probably start an entire podcast on corporate woes, but but the other piece that I want to highlight is also time freedom. Like, y'all. Yes. Time freedom. Like, money is not our most valuable asset. It's being able to, go to all of your son's t-ball games. It's being able to sleep in whenever you need some extra rest. It's not being afraid to tell a manager that you are sick. It's not even necessarily about, oh, I just need to have this amount of money, but it's also the type of life you want to live. And I know y'all can let me know, like drop a number 1 in the comments if y'all can relate. Like if you know what it's like to be in a job and you're like, I want to be here.
Right.
I don't want to be here.
And the overall, like asking for permission to take vacation. Like you can't automate your job. You can't set up a system that's going to do your job while you're not present. But once you digitalize your skills, you can set up a system and it's going to sell it whether you're there or not. Ooh. You're still going to get the payment notifications once you have everything set up. It's a lot of heavy lifting at the front for freedom, on the back end. Whereas corporate is just heavy lifting all the time.
Yes. Yes. And those payment notifications that she's talking about, that's around the clock. That's not you waiting for every other Friday. I'm so excited. Right. Like that's not every other Friday money. That's not on the 25th of every month money. Like you can be making money every single day. Nikki and I, this was what, 2020, I think it must have been 2022 when we got into like the Amazon influencer program. And then on TikTok, we discovered like the on-site commissions. And it's like, you make passive income every single day. Like be willing to learn new things, like be open-minded about being able to make money outside of just a job. And I know that a lot of people they have reservations or, they may have tried something in the past that didn't work. So like in your experience, what do you feel like is like some of those common myths or like common mistakes that you see or hear a lot whenever just around the whole topic of making money online?
Most of the common things that I hear is, like I tried it once and it didn't happen. Definitely giving up too soon. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have something, you put it out there and then like you talk about it once and you never talk about it again. Like, and then that's usually when they're like, well, it didn't work. Like, well, there was no like process to it. And the big one though, is a lot of just like, I don't have skills to teach. Like that comes up so often, or I don't know what to teach. I don't know how to get started. Right. Or like, I don't think it's for me. Who would listen to me? Right. And these are when it gets into like the mindset aspect, the identity aspect, right? This is the spiritual side of entrepreneurship and making money online. That whole thought process of like, well, who would listen to me and stuff. And I don't have enough time to get into like frequencies and all that today. But, in a nutshell, the frequency you put out is the frequency that you get back, So when you're like, who would listen? Well, that's what's going to be reflected to you. Who's listening, know? And so it's being able to figure out like, how to pivot that mindset, how to, adjust that, that mentality, but then also like pulling all of what you've been through, there's no I said it already, but there's no shortage of skills, experiences, expertise that people need. If somebody's making $250,000 to teach a sourdough, and you make money teaching people how to budget travel. Like it's, there's, you and I do vastly different businesses at the end of the day. And yet, we still get to make our semi-passive income, I'll call it, because we we put in the work.
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we still get to make our semi-passive income and stuff. But yeah, giving up too soon and just like the idea that they don't have skills is like always a
Yeah.
common thing that I see. And I've fallen into that trap too. And so again, like taking it back to experiences, like I recognize for me that I had to fall into these traps so that I could help other women through those traps. So
Yeah.
oftentimes we're in these little traps and we think like that this is forever and we're being punished and this and that. But like what is it? What's that saying? Your trauma is your testimony. Is that it? Something along those lines.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
Something like that. And so my point is we think we're stuck, but really it's like a matter of no, we're supposed to figure it out so that we can create the method to help somebody else through it. And then you visualize the method to teach and help like hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
Yeah, people who you don't even know like need you.
Yeah.
Like people who are waiting in the shadows. People who you think your idea is silly, but somebody out there had no idea that another person was going through the same thing that they were going through. And again, like I know Nikki will go through all of this in her masterclass. Y'all make sure y'all shoot her a DM or comment on one of her videos for the link for her masterclass. But being able to recognize that honestly, whenever it comes to making money online, it's like it's simple, but it's not easy. And when I say it's not easy, I mean the full spectrum of it's not easy mentally. I mean, Nikki and I have entrepreneurial therapy, okay? like multiple times a week. Like but it's worth it. But we always come back to, well, would you rather have a job? Or would you rather what would you rather do? Choose your hard.
Exactly. There's a grit and a grind that comes to it, but the rewarding, like, and it's this is something I was telling my husband too, because he was like, well, if you're working this much, this was in the beginning, like he's like, if you're working this much, why don't you just work? And I'm like, because there's a compound growth here. You know what I mean? Once you have your thing established, your digital product established, who you're talking to and what it is that you do, the transformation that you sell, then it's just a matter of volume and continuing to get it in front of the right people. But at some point you will be at a place where you're in front, people know your name. And once people know your name, well, then it comes to where like, then that's when like the passive income gets really good. Cause now it's like, okay, well, I just want whatever she's selling. Right. And so it's like, you don't get that at a corporate job or even selling like one-on-one services only. Like there's no compound growth that happens. It's always just whatever you have capacity for because you're putting out your time and energy. Whereas when the product is done, that product just sells. And now your job is marketing.
That sounds so beautiful. I'm just over here like, yes. And this is, I mean, we are both lovers of digital products, digital marketing, affiliate marketing. We're just, we are very aligned there. Yeah. And I know that I'm not going to ask you for the full deep dive because if y'all want that, y'all got to sign up for her masterclass. But if you could give one or two pieces of advice for someone who is like, I want to learn how to make money online. I want to learn how to do this. I have no idea where to start. I maybe have some skills, but I don't really know. What would you tell them?
So what I would say, first of all, is grab out a piece of paper, I'm like, y'all write, grab out a piece of paper and write out, set like 10 minutes for each of these. Write out what are my skills at the top of the page. Put on some chill music, set a timer for like 10 minutes and write out all the skills that you know. Start with the skills that you remember first off, right? And then as you go into this writing, don't think about it. Just keep writing all your skills. You're going to see like all of these skills come up that you had forgotten about. And this is something we'll do in the masterclass. Once you do that, you can take a look at them, at your skills, and see if there's any that you're passionate about. You can also do this and say, what are my experiences, right? And do the same thing with experiences. Do both. I'd recommend doing both. Then you go back and you look at them and you say, okay, which ones of these, like, can I teach on and talk about over and over again in different ways? And pick like your top 3. From there, go onto social media and search those words. See if other people are searching for that. And that is one, how you figure out what your skill is, and then how you figure out if it's viable. And then once you see that people are searching for it, then you would create the product teaching your transformation or the transformation that you went through utilizing your methods. And that is honestly like the easiest way to get started.
And what I love so much about that is I feel like it ties so well into what you said in the beginning with the sourdough story, because I can just imagine this person sitting down and writing out, well, I'm really, really good at making sourdough. And then going online and looking up how to make sourdough and then seeing all this stuff and just being shocked, just being like, I could do this. I could absolutely do this. She's not even doing that right. Look at all these people in the comments asking these questions. Like
exactly. And then goes and yes, she set it all up and now she's like, shoot, she's sitting pretty.
Yeah.
Sourdough.
Yeah.
I mean, and think too, like if you're just brand new, also like what do people come to you for? Is there a specific advice they ask you for, right? Like there are people who teach like relationships, and how to like manage relationships. Somebody I just saw on Threads actually yesterday, a stay-at-home mom, sold a $27 digital guide for bedtime routine for toddlers because she was having a hard time with her toddlers. She figured out a bedtime routine. She's making like $3,200 a month, doing that. And it just launched. Now, like for some, like $3,200 a month for a lot of us is like, is it life-changing money? It could be. You know what I mean? Like for a lot of us, that's like at least rent, like, there's more money in your pocket regardless. So there's no shortage of like skills, experiences, nothing. It's just what that somebody else needs.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And the last thing I'll say is like, I really like the piece that you added on the end. And when you mentioned the 3,200, because one thing that I also like to talk about is like, y'all, whenever it comes to money, like y'all know I'm staying out of y'all pockets. Okay. I'm staying out of y'all pockets, but everybody's pockets are different, right? Like $3,200 for me a month for somebody who lives abroad. Like, to be honest with you, do I want more? Of course. Do I need more? No. Okay. No, right. Like, honestly, I don't. Now, Nikki is in California.
So, that is almost my rent, but I'll take it.
Exactly. But the beautiful thing about this is like, whenever it comes to making money online, you can decide what works for you. You can set how much money you want to make. You can decide, okay, I want to automate this, but I want to keep this. Like the biggest thing about this is being open-minded and understanding that it's all flexible. And again, I know Nikki will go over all of this in the masterclass, but I just wanted to kind of tie that in because I know certain people, like you hear numbers and numbers mean different things to different people, but there are people out there making $32 a month. There are people out here making $32 a day. There are people $3,200 a day. Hey, you know what? $32 a day?
Shoot, that's a pack of wipes for my babies.
Okay, period. So it just, there's something out there for everybody. Nikki, this was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all, please make sure y'all follow Nikki. We'll go ahead and talk about your masterclass one more time for anybody who's recently joined.
Yes, so masterclass is going to be on Monday. It's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. There is a replay available if you can't make it live, but you do have to register to get the replay. It is called Digitalize Your Expertise. It is my birthday gift to you guys. I'm turning 31 that day, and I'm going to show you all how to turn your skills, gifts, and experiences into a sellable offer. Again, for anybody like who is in corporate and either wants side money or wants to get out, or for any type of entrepreneur that has like a hands-on style business, things like bakers, photographers, realtors, stuff like that, where you want to kind of learn how to be a little bit more hands-off as far as being able to make money without having to physically be present. And so we will go over how to figure out your skills and expertise, how to make sure that it's viable, and then we'll also go over like the energetic and strategic framework in order to get it to sell. So it's like the market research and then the identity work. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is I created a custom GPT for this class. So I'm gonna also show you how to use AI in order to like streamline the process and get the digital product done faster. So there's a custom GPT in there for anybody who joins. I've already got it made, so that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, join me on my birthday. And then I got a birthday surprise at the end, of course.
Hey, and by the way, it's all air sign energy. Let me also put that out there, okay? I'm Libra and she is Gemini, so it's if you like this kind of energy, you will absolutely love the masterclass because air signs are the best. So
yes, and you and I are double air.
We are. Hello, Alex. Thank you so much for the roses. All right, Nikki, I know that it is time for us to wrap it up. But again, thank you so much for joining. Y'all, make sure that you tap into her masterclass. You can comment on any of her videos. You can send her a DM. You can send me a DM. I got the link as well. So either way, make sure you... class.
The link in bio right now goes to YouTube, but the link is like over on YouTube. Follow me so I can put a link in bio.
Right.
It's a new one.
Yeah. Absolutely, y'all. Make sure you connect with Nikki. Nikki, thank you again so much. And y'all, we'll catch y'all later.
Yes, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.